Yes, I am a math enthusiast. And I am aware that not everybody shares that enthusiasm. In fact, I know that when you mention math and statistics, instead of generating an automatic lean in, I want more reaction, many people feel stress or anxiety or aversion. Now, this can be good if you do a lot of travel and you're on a plane and you would really like very minimal interaction with that chatty neighbor next to you. If you tell them you are a math professor, you're virtually assured a quiet trip. However, this aversion to and anxiety about math and statistics is not good for our society. How many times have you heard somebody say, I can't do math? People don't say that about history. They may say, I don't like history. If you Google math anxiety, you have a huge choice. Excuse me, I need the little beeper. You have a huge choice of articles to read about math anxiety. Does anybody suffer from geography anxiety? I actually Googled geography anxiety while preparing for this talk, and I found, exactly 0 null set hits on the mass of data available on Google for geography anxiety. So what is it about math that creates this particular reaction? Well, let me tell you a story. A little over 20 years ago, I was teaching my very first teaching job at a local French high school, and I was teaching a group of students that I knew had not had traditionally a lot of academic success. So I was in my early 20s, very, very enthusiastic. I was teaching in French, so I was making extra care to prepare my lessons because I knew I'm young, I'm female, I have an accent, I better be prepared. And one day, a young man in the back of the class raises his hand. Let's call him Olivier. And I am so excited because I'm thinking, yes, Olivier is ready to participate. He's engaged. And I say, yes, Olivier. And he looks at me and he says, Madam, why are you spending so much energy? We are all in this class because we don't get math. We never have and we never will. So needless to say, that took the wind out of my sails. And I was really shocked. I was quite sad, and I thought, he's not telling me I don't understand and seeking help. He's telling me I can't do it, and neither can anybody else in this class. And that got me really concerned. I was very touched. I thought, what are we doing to people that allows them to arrive at 15 and feel that way, feel that defeatist, that hopelessness? And we know that we need people to understand math and statistics. So how many Oliviers are out there in this world? Well, in a recent study by PISA, it's the Program for International Student Assessment, it looks at 15-year-olds across 65 countries, measuring math and reading and other abilities. And they even measured 2 years ago mathematical anxiety levels in students. Fully 33%, 1 in every 3 students that took this test said that they feel high levels of stress when doing math homework. And 30% said that they feel helpless when doing math. That's far too many. Now, we know that fear and anxiety are great impediments to achievement in any field, far more so than actual lack of ability. And fear leads to avoidance. Now, I understand fear because I started to learn to ski at 30 years old. And let me tell you, I know what anxiety means now. However, you can live a very full and able and happy life with ski avoidance. Math avoidance and statistics avoidance is much more difficult. We cannot afford to have our kids avoid mathematics and statistics. We can't afford it ourselves. Whether we are making personal, professional, or governmental decisions, math and statistics are skills that are essential for informed decision making. The recent study by the Center for Responsible Lending said that 12 million Americans are currently involved in the cycle of payday loans. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're short-term loans at very high interest rates that people take out to try to get to the end of the month. If they took the interest rate they're paying on a monthly basis and compounded that annually, it would take them to an annual percentage rate of interest of 700%. Okay? We can't afford to have people not understand this. We all need to be able to confront the daily barrage of statistics and numbers and percentages and graphs that we see in the news, whether it be about political polls, potential health risks, climate change debate. So exactly what is this math anxiety? It's the tensing of the blood, the rushing, tensing of the muscles, the rushing of the blood, the nervousness that you feel when you have to go to the blackboard or you have a math equation. Or you're sitting at dinner with a group of friends and you see the waiter coming to you with the bill and you think, I have to figure out the tip and divide by the number of people at this table, and that number is not 10. So, what does the science say? What's actually happening to people when they feel that type of anxiety? Well, researchers have created scales called Mars and Stars for math anxiety rating scale and statistics anxiety rating scale. And recently, researchers Sean Bielak and Ian Lyons at the University of Chicago used functional magnetic resonance machines. So that's when you put people in the machine and you give them stimuli and you see which areas of the brain are activated. And what they did when they had highly math anxious subjects under study, what they did was they saw which area of the brain is activated when we say the next question is a math question or the next question is a word question. Well, when they would tell people that have high math anxiety, the next question is a math question, the area of the brain that's activated is the same area that perceives physical harm and pain. Now you know where I was going with that. Now, I knew that many students over the years have found my classes somewhat painful, but I did not know how literal that could be. But what I really found interesting about this study was that as soon as the actual math equation came up on the screen, the activity in the brain shifted elsewhere. So it was not the actual doing of the math that created that feeling, it was the anticipation. Now, we are hardwired to fear dangerous situations. That's part of our evolution. That's why we get that feeling when we see a tarantula. We are not hardwired to fear math and statistics. So something's going on here. What can we do to try to avoid getting to the point where we have these millions of students and adults fearing this? Well, I'd like to touch on what 3 different groups of people can do. Parents, teachers, and then us as individuals. So let me dig in with what can parents do? We know that our earliest experiences forge our attitudes. And our earliest teachers are our parents. As parents, what we need to do is actually create fun, happy feelings related to math and logical reasoning. We can do that through playing games with our kids, dice, backgammon, playing cards. It's a privileged moment with children, or have them play with each other. We can also do that by using something called Bedtime Math, and I'm not kidding. There is actually a website. It's free for anyone, and it is dedicated to creating daily stories of interest to young kids. It can be about fire hydrants or fire trucks or going to the zoo with a few related math questions. So every now and then, instead of reading a story, try some bedtime math. Your kids will start to think of this as fun. And importantly, they'll see that math is relevant to everyday things. It's not just a sheet with 300 multiplication problems. Besides bedtime math, we also should try to meet our kids when they come home from school and they're struggling with math, not with empathy. We don't want to say, oh, I know it's so hard. But instead, give them the support and the encouragement that you would give if you were teaching or helping them learn to read or to ride a bike. We also need, as parents, to avoid transmitting any negative attitudes that we have. And often that's done unintentionally. Try to catch ourselves when we say, oh, he's like me. I never was any good at math either. And make that not be socially acceptable to talk about how you're not so good at math and you never got it and you never use it. Another thing that we want to try to avoid, let me go on to what teachers are going to do in encouraging math. So what teachers can do in encouraging students to be better at math, whether we're teaching elementary school, middle school, high school, all the way up to graduate school and executive education. There's 3 ideas, small changes we can make that I'd like to share with you. The first is spend more time cultivating the curiosity of our students. Give them time to actually ask questions. To generate curiosity, we need the math to be relevant or the statistics to be relevant. I guarantee you, if you give an MBA class a data set about all previous MBA graduates, the industries they're working in, and their salary data, that will generate thought, questions, delving, and then you can guide them to, well, how can we actually answer your questions? We want students to think of math as potentially being a creative endeavor and not just, yes, there's a right or a wrong answer. The second thing that we can do, besides cultivating curiosity, is use the power of positive feedback. Grossly underutilized resource in a classroom, particularly in math and statistics classrooms. When we're working with students and we have a problem, say it's worth 5 points, we actually make a choice when we're grading that. The student has earned 2 points, not the other 3. We can write -3, or we can write +2. The grade is absolutely the same. The impact is different. The first says, you got over half wrong. The second says, well, you got 2 points right here. You're on the right track. Let's build on that. Let's keep going. The third thing that we can do as professors is dare to disagree with the Oliviers of the world who tell you, we don't get it, never have, never will. Please, I just need to survive this class. Okay. Set the expectations high that they can and will learn. And then give them the support so that they will get there. Sure, sometimes they're going to fall down. They're not going to get it right. Create an atmosphere where they're willing to try again. It's not just failure, right or wrong. It's a process. And lastly, what can we do as individuals, each one of us, to promote a more positive culture of math and statistics? Well, I have 2 bits of good news. The first is that there are now freely available, excellent resources online to learn anything you want to know about math. Any gaps you have, any interest you have, any passion, your child's having difficulty, you're having difficulty, try the Khan Academy. You can go on there and watch the video about standard deviation 15 times. Nobody will know that you watched it 15 times before you got it. You have the massive open online courses. Coursera and edX are 2 options for that. And that you can learn anything from basic algebra all the way up through differential equations and many other topics. So I encourage you to look at them. The other bit of good news is that our brains as adults are far more plastic and elastic than was once believed. We're not too old to begin learning. I like to imagine this as the continuum of feelings towards math. And I do fully embrace that I am at the far out spectrum here. What I would like is to see fewer people down here in the physical revulsion stage, even less nervous with the bill, and get a lot more of our children and adults to what I call the sweet spot of confidence, where we have comfortably numerate adults who can deal with the day-to-day math and statistics that we see. We're never, ever too old to experience the joy of learning. We're never too young, even to experience the joy of learning math and statistics. Thank you.